Hi, this is Ruth Brunner. I have the pleasure today, November 30th, 2023, of interviewing Chief Michaels. He's our retired police chief in Windsor. And would you go ahead and state your full name?
John E. Michaels.
Okay, and when were you the police chief here in Windsor?
I was police chief from 1984 to 2016. I had started my police career here in April 1976 as a patrolman.
As a patrolman, what was Windsor like in 1976?
6 police officers, which included the chief. Some of the things I remember the most about Windsor, it's pretty small, 2,000 people. My wife and I moved into Chestnut Square Apartments. We faced 7th Street, which wasn't paved.
No.
Yes.
Wow. So you got a little dust in there.
Yeah, we used to have to put a blanket on the door, outside the door, to keep the dust away.
Yeah.
So we were building homes across the street at that point, and within a year they finally paved 7th Street, but Eastman Park Drive didn't exist, and we had the downtown business and all the residential. Yeah. That was about it. So compared to what we have now, it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean now we have how many square miles compared to how many square miles did you patrol then?
Very small. Now we're in 2 counties, which is kind of rare for communities to be in 2 counties, but we're one of the few that are.
In Weldon, Larimer.
Weldon, Larimer, yes.
Yeah. So where was the police department located?
It was on 5th Street, 5th and Ash. We were in the the first floor of the town hall in the southwest corner. It was 1 office, 1 desk, 1 jail cell. That's all we had to function out of. Now within a year, the town board allowed us to move upstairs. The police officers volunteered their time to build that police department on their own. The town supplied the material, but we supplied the labor.
What'd you have to build to make it a department?
We had to build several different offices, a holding facility, and an evidence locker.
Wow.
It just quadrupled the size of the police department at that point.
Felt like you could really spread out.
It did, it felt good.
So when that closed, that became the museum, which is what it is now, Town Hall or Arts and Heritage Museum, where did you move to after that?
Then we moved to the town hall at 301 Walnut Street. We were downstairs in the basement for many years. And as our police department grew and expanded, so did our area down in the basement. We took over vacant rooms that we turned into patrol offices, or the detective's room, or the evidence locker. And then when the tornado hit, it ruined the town hall, so we had to move out of the town hall, move into another building on the east side of town for several months while they built the new police department.
The one that we have on 11th Street?
Yes,
okay.
on 11th Street.
Wow. So the basement of Park School, people may think that didn't it have like garden level windows?
Yes, it did.
Yeah,
because one of my windows was looking out at the parking lot to see all the tires of the cars.
It was my first 3rd grade room, so I remember I had more sunlight in that room from the south and west than others. So what kind of emergency management have you had to take care of throughout those was it 40 years as a police chief?
40 years, but the emergency management grew throughout the years, where in the beginning there really was no title or format to follow. But then as more and more disasters struck our community, they put department heads in charge of emergency operations. The head of the city crew, me, the fire department. So whatever emergency hit, then we would come together and formulate a game plan.
Wow. So did you feel like you guys were prepared when the tornado hit in 2008 in Windsor?
There's a big difference going to a class and then standing out on the street seeing half your town destroyed and say, what are we going to do next? Yeah. Because it took about 90 seconds to destroy a lot of our town. Nobody had ever seen a tornado like that come into this area. Quite a shock, but you instantly go into the work mode and say, well, what do we have to take care of? So with those different organizations, of course, we had many police departments come in and the sheriff's department, and say, what can we do to help? Same with this different city crews in different towns. So you formulate the plan. First thing we need to do is we have no electricity. All of our street lights are out. How's the traffic going to get through? You have to put officers at the intersections to run traffic. You have to go into the most devastated areas, start looking for casualties, helping those people. And then to block off the community, make sure there's no looting or theft or anything else that could happen into there. So we did, on my side of it as an officer, we did flood the area with many, many police officers. And we didn't have any theft or looting occur in our community.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Says a lot for you guys and also our community. So what path did the tornado travel?
It came out over from the south to the west.
Okay.
And hit the east part of town the hardest.
Okay.
I lived more on the west side of town. My house ended up with about $18,000 in damage.
Okay.
And it took about a year to fix it all
Fix it.
because I put myself at the bottom of the list saying, take care of others.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think. It hit the windmill and the bank over there on the intersection of Eastman Park
and
Drive.
257,
And, yeah.
very hard hit into there.
Was that? I mean, that was one of the first places. Then it came through. It was the last day of school. What day was the
May
tornado?
22nd.
22nd. You don't forget that. I know it was the last day of school. And did it go through Eastman Park or what path? I mean, major.
Eastman Park and then more to the west, south and west, or going north at that point. We did have a patrol officer in that area. And we were driving Explorers, Ford Explorers. His was turned completely up on its side and then came back down on the wheels
Wow.
as he went through it. I was at 392 and 257, and I saw that wall cloud coming towards us. I'd never seen anything like that. And I just thought, there's something bad going to happen.
Yeah.
And I just made it back to the police department, 301 Walnut, which only took 45 seconds to a minute to drive there when the tornado hit us right at 301 Walnut at the town hall.
At the town hall, 301
So I
Walnut.
got to see it come by as I was looking out one of the
Because
doors.
it took out a lot of trees in Main Park on between 2nd and 4th Street. A path there too. Yeah.
I never even looked there.
You didn't look. You were looking at buildings
We're
and
looking at
buildings and people.
And we had to set up our EOC Emergency Management Center and get people organized to what's going on. My job, my duty then was primarily inside to organize all the different responses. I spent very little time being able to cruise in my community. I was working 16 hours a day trying to organize this for many days, but it took several days before I had enough time to go out and view it
To view it.
myself.
Yeah. I remember because I lived, off by the middle school, and we didn't get hit. It went. Luckily, didn't hit any of the schools. Did it? I think it went between and went over the lake and kind of lost its oomph.
Yes.
It went over the
Of course,
office.
along with the tornado was tremendous hail, which did a lot of damage.
That you're right. That was.
And that's primarily what got my house was the hail.
Yeah. Okay, so what things did your staff learn from that, and how did you help others with what you learned?
Staff learned it's nice to have a lot of friends in the area. Fellow law enforcement, the fire departments, where you do band together very quickly. There's always the unknown. We brought in, like I said, many different law enforcement agencies, and I told them, whatever you guys spend on overtime, I will pay for.
Oh.
But you have to make that decision instantly, and then you hope the town board says, okay.
Okay. Was it expensive for overtime and budget? I hadn't thought about that.
Very much so.
Very much.
And I think, and it's tough to remember, but maybe a year later we did get a grant from the federal government to help pay some of these expenses.
Wow.
Which helped out a lot. And the departments that showed up didn't expect to get paid back.
But then you were able to.
Yes.
It's kind of like
And
scratch each other's back. Isn't that how that works?
Because when the trouble comes, everybody comes running.
Yeah. There was a big backup on Main Street coming from the west from the interstate. Mostly people coming to look.
Coming to look, and that's when our street lights are out. So how do we get the traffic flowing? Because then we'd have miles of cars just sitting there, which doesn't do anybody any good. If we need to bring in ambulances or the emergency response to get officers in a location, you gotta have the streets open so we can do that. And of course the looky-loos come in.
Yeah.
And we fought that problem for a while, shutting down the neighborhoods, saying nobody in or out. And we did that for a couple of days before we had to open it all back up, saying, okay, come in and out, we'll try and monitor it the best we can. But it went at least a couple of days to where we were very secure, so we could get back on our feet and then start to function in the recovery.
Wasn't the neighborhood kind of off of Chestnut by the ball fields
Yes.
and the Chimney Park pool, that area?
Bannon was the hardest hit.
The hardest hit the area, that would be south of it. And I remember there was National Guard there to help you. So, and then I guess people from Bulgaria came to
About
understand.
a year later, the delegation from Bulgaria came in to
You want to show us
hear
what you brought and what you learned?
emergency managers talk about what happened in our community, and they gave us a medal of thanks.
Oh, that's good.
But it's interesting talking to them from another country. They also gave me a book that covers some of their emergency management. And in that same year, we did some classes for the state of Colorado in emergency management to share the wealth, share the knowledge, share the mistakes, and what we can do better. And anytime you go through something like that, you will make mistakes.
Yeah.
And you'll say, you make the decisions based on the information you have at hand.
Yeah.
And you say, I think this will be best, and then a couple of days later you think, we need to change this. It's not working. But you have to be able to look at that quickly and say, okay, it's time to change direction and pivot a little bit to make this function.
Yeah. Is that hard in the world of, nowadays with all the media, everybody's so quick to criticize and not understand? Or is there things that, I used to tell my kids, learn from the mistakes of others. You can't live long enough to make them all yourself. But, that's part of what we learn from those. And
One of the interesting things when we were meeting with the Bulgarians, we did have the press present, listening to all this. And the Bulgarians asked, you have a lot of press here. What's the good and the bad about so much press? Because you're a very open society. And a lot of the press people I knew, because I deal with them all the time. And I looked right at them and I said, now I'm going to hurt your feelings. Because the press is a two-edged sword. It's good news and bad news. Sometimes they press too hard to ask questions that you really don't want out. They ask such loaded questions, no matter how you answer it, it's going to make you look bad.
Yeah.
And so, like the first day, maybe the next day, we had news stations, I think, from across the world. Yeah. And we had to do press releases. So you stand up there, and it's my turn to stand in front of about 50 different cameras, which makes you nervous to begin with. Yeah. And give my little presentation, and then ask for questions. So the first question from the back, with all these cameras on you, and it's going to go national news, was, I heard, Chief, that you turned off the tornado sirens. So I'm put on the spot. Yeah. Somebody's been talking to the press. And I said, we don't have tornado sirens. We never have had them.
Yeah.
We used to have a fire siren that would call our volunteer firemen to the station house to get to their vehicles. So I pointed to a guy over on the left, and he said, Chief, I heard you turned off the tornado siren. Same question, two different reporters, because people have been talking to him, giving him misinformation. So the first one didn't believe me. Now I'm trying to turn red. So we got more important things to talk about.
Good for you. Good for you.
I repeated my answer, we don't have tornado sirens. And today, we don't have tornado sirens.
Oh, we don't?
No.
And why is that?
We have reverse 911, we have emergency notification system that you get to sign up for as a citizen. You go onto the website, the town of Windsor, it'll walk you through it. Any emergency will come right across your phone.
It'll come across your phone.
That is the increase in technology.
Yeah. Because I remember the volunteer fire department siren. It was on the old town hall.
One of our jobs
Fifth Street,
is on patrol was when the fire siren went, we were supposed to go to 7th and Main. We had a key for the light that we would change the lights, that the light would always be green for east-west to get our firemen to the fire station.
Yeah, that's right.
Luckily, we quit doing that.
Well, we'd be in church and they'd all get up and leave. And the beepers would go off right before the alarm did, so.
But for many years, that's all we had was a volunteer fire department. And thank goodness, those were very dedicated men.
Yes.
They came out anytime that fire siren went off.
Yeah.
Now, I did have to write a volunteer fireman a ticket. Because as he's responding to get to the station, he plowed into a parked car.
Okay. You gotta watch. Still be responsible.
You can drive an emergency vehicle, you still have to control it.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, so is there anything else about the tornado that you wanted to talk about? Things that people maybe didn't realize happened, or the role of the police department?
Not realizing, but it is amazing how fast life can change.
Yes.
In 90 seconds, everything for the next year changed in our lives because of that tornado. Mm-hmm. But I think our community, I think I know, our community is much better prepared now than it was back then. I appreciate the response from everybody that happened. The citizens knew also that this is going to be tough for a few days, so let's bear down and see what we can do.
Well, thank you for that and all your officers. How many officers did you have at that time in 2008, would you say?
Well, that's very tough to remember because every couple of years we're adding officers. It'd only be a guess on my part. I'd say 12, 13.
Yeah, but still much. How many do they have now, do you know?
I think 48.
Yeah, so that just puts it in perspective because 12 is not very, that. When did you actually become the police chief?
In 1984.
84.
I was a patrolman and then I made sergeant. I was a patrolman for 4 years, sergeant for about 3 years, lieutenant for 1 year, and then I was appointed chief. So it was Chief Teal when I got here. When Teal left, Chris Mattson took over, and then when Chris left, I took over.
Okay.
And I lasted 32 years.
Wow. What did what made you stay for 32 years, and what brought you to do that?
I like the community. It's a great small town. They say the best thing and worst thing about a small town is you know everybody. Mm-hmm. That's true as an officer because you get to see people at their worst. You're trying to help them as much as you can, but you still get involved in an awful lot.
Yeah. As a kid, when did you decide or know you wanted to be a police officer, or what did you?
3rd grade, 4th grade.
Really?
And in high school, I was a Fort Collins Police Department cadet.
Okay.
So I worked for them in the summers, and I think I made a whopping $1.75 an hour. But it opened my eyes that this is what I do want to do. Mm-hmm. And Windsor gave me my first opportunity, and a very loyal individual. I stuck with it. And
you are,
and
yes.
This is a great town.
So you grew up in Fort Collins.
Yes.
What high school did you graduate from?
I'm a Lambkin.
A Lambkin, the old one down on Remington, or yes, what year was that?
I grew up a block and a half away from Fort Collins High School.
Oh, the one that's on Remington by the gardens.
Prospect and Matthews is where I grew up.
Okay. What was I can't imagine all the changes you saw in Fort Collins, but...
When I grew up, Windsor now is the size of Fort Collins when I grew up.
Wow.
Excluding the college, the influence of the college. But
so what year did you graduate high school?
71.
71. And then what kind of training did you have to do or for being a police officer?
Well, to be a police officer back then, I graduated from UNC and I was married. Mm-hmm. So I graduated in March of 76, and in April of 76, Windsor hired me.
Wow.
And I got 4 full days, 4 shifts with another officer showing me the town, and then on a Friday night, he handed me the keys to the patrol car and said, the next shift is yours.
Now you know the way around. That's amazing.
So now you have to be a certified officer to even apply. Through our community colleges, you have to have your peace officer certificate. Back when I was started, you had 1 year to go to the police academy, which is in Camp George West. We only had 1 police academy. All officers went there. So in January, I was hired in April. In January, I went down to Camp George West. It was 6 full weeks of training.
Boot camp.
And then
In that case,
40 more years of training after that.
Yes, that's the truth of what you learn.
Every
That's
day.
what I wanted to ask you, what you learn on the job.
Every single day.
So what personal qualities do you think you had or instilled in you that allowed you to be able to learn on the job and move forward and be successful and respond to emergencies?
Always trying to be better, being as much help as you can. And there were things that I did in the first couple of years I'd never do after that.
So are there any unsolved crimes from your 40 years or anything that you remember that we can speak of because it's part of public record? I know the Windsor Beacon used to always publish the police report.
Yes, not only did they publish the police report, they actually published our salaries every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks?
Yeah, they would go to the town hall and they'd get every check that the town of Windsor cut. And they'd put the name, how much the money was, whether it was to Stephens for some food or whatever. It was amazing. And people even commented to me, said, I read your salary in the paper. And some say you make too much, $5 an hour. And others say you don't make enough.
That's what you started at, huh?
Yes.
Wow. So, I know your mom subscribed to the Windsor Beacon just to read the police report and went, in Fort Collins.
Well, that was my annual gift to my mother for Christmas, was a subscription to the Beacon, so she could keep up on me.
So she, without having to ask.
And I do miss that. I regret we do not have a local paper. Yeah. And like I said earlier, the newspaper's always a two-edged sword, but they also published all of our crimes. Or I shouldn't say crimes, all of our calls for service.
Calls for service.
2 or 3 times a week, a reporter from the Beacon would come into our police department and get every report. And I did like that, because I wanted the public to know what we were doing out there. And it's very difficult to do that now. In any town. Fort Collins, Greeley, you don't know what's going on, and I miss that part of it.
I like that. That's a nice way to think about it. The calls you made for service.
Yes.
I think too often we think of it in a negative way, but it's a big part of the service that keeps our town.
Oh, we used to do vehicle unlocks. We carried what's called a Slim Jim, a tool that you could slip into the window of a locked car and unlock a car for people. And many police departments still do that. And that's where you got to meet some of your citizens. Here's some poor man or woman that locked themselves out. You get to go in and say, here you go.
Yeah.
And work with them. You don't want to be, it's tough always working with people in the negative, that they're a victim of this or something's happened. You want to work with them on a positive. That's what, we did the police department Halloween party.
You started that, didn't you and your wife?
Yes, well that started because of the Tylenol killings.
Because of what?
The Chicago Tylenol killings, where someone put poison in the Tylenol. And 3 or 4 people died right before Halloween, like a month before Halloween. So the police department, along with citizens, had to put on our own Halloween Christmas party to make it our Halloween party to make it safe for the kids. So as years went by, the police department would always buy all the candy. Our service organizations would put the games together, and we had it in one location, of course, so it's nice and safe. The kids aren't walking around in traffic, and that's one of the things I enjoyed doing.
Yeah, and it's carried on. They still do that. And didn't your wife and some of the ladies start the after prom party, or?
I don't think she started it.
She didn't start it. It was here.
They participated in part.
Yeah.
My wife primarily does Christmas in Windsor,
yes,
which was just last week.
But you were such valuable citizens and still are for our town.
Thank you.
So before we close, is there anything that you want to speak about or tell us about that?
I just hope there are more people that are interested in law enforcement. It has been under a shadow for a couple of years. Defund the police, and we're in trouble if we defund the police. The police are our safety net.
Yeah.
They need to be out there.
We need them, and we need them like in a personal way that you have related to them. How? Well, I have one question. You have nothing else? What about technology? How has that changed
Well,
since '76?
I had to go to the town board on a budget meeting and said, we really need one of these new portable phones so we can be in contact and that I don't have to talk on the radio, let everybody hear. And then the town board looked at me and said, okay, chief, you get one. Don't ever ask for another cell phone.
Who could you call on the one?
So that's how technology, who
That has
doesn't
changed.
have a cell phone now?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
you know, as the new technology comes along, well, in '76, they had just started to come out with bulletproof vests. They're fairly new. Our police department would not buy one for you.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't buy our own pistols.
Oh.
You had to buy your own pistol, and if you wanted a bulletproof vest, you had to buy your own.
Mm-hmm.
All of that has changed dramatically.
Yes.
We used to buy used state patrol cars for our patrol cars, so we got them with about 110,000 miles on them. And then you fast forward several years to the fleet plan, where every officer had his own patrol car. Why is that necessary? Our tornado hits your town.
Yeah.
Officers get in their patrol cars. You need these patrol cars available for officers.
Yeah.
So a lot has changed, and that's the progression as you go through the years. It was very positive. Where if the town had a little bit more money, we could spend a little bit more money.
Yeah. Well, we are very fortunate to live in Windsor, Colorado, and
Yes, we
to
are.
have this interview today with you, Chief. I still call you Chief Michaels, but John Michaels. So thank you for your time and your many years of dedication and care for our community.
Thank you.